Hey there guys, I'm going to show you my Lego room today. I've had a few requests for this and I also did one last year, so keen to do an updated one. In this, I'm hoping to show you the different ways that I display my sets as well as displaying my mocks, and also show you some of the different ways that I sort my Lego and store some of my Lego, and hopefully seeing a bunch of that can give you a few ideas and a little bit of inspiration if you want to, find new ways of updating or refining your own Lego room, or just the ways that you store and sort your Lego. We'll start off in the corner here. This is the desk where I record a lot of my videos as well as build a lot of my mocks and build different sets as well. It's kind of a multi-purpose area. I find having a nice L-shaped desk like this is super helpful, and I do have this desk off to the side here as well. Oftentimes I'll be building a larger project and it takes up the majority of the space on my desk here. So having kind of offshoot areas where I can just have a bit of breathing space or room to build other stuff if need be is incredibly helpful. Also on these drawers here, just because I tend to sit here the most because I do a lot of my work here most of the time, I have a lot of pieces that I very actively use. So different types of 1x1 tiles, or some of these quarter tile dots pieces, or individual 1x1 plates, all that sort of stuff rests here on this desk, as well as a Nintendo Switch. Off to the side here, this is my mic and where I edit a lot of my videos. I have different reference books and things here. Use these a lot for inspiration for Lego mocks and things. Although off in the corner just there, those are my Pokemon cards, which I do collect those as well. Off to the side here, we can see where I store a lot of my Bionicle pieces. These are sorted by color. This is nowhere near all of them. This is just some of the ones I actively use at the moment. And then up the top here as well, we've got a few different Transformers. Again, not all of my Transformers, but I also enjoy a good Transformer now and then. Over this way, we've got ourselves a pretty decent amount of the Bionicle sets that I own, as well as some of the Bionicle mocks that I have. You can also see scattered along here are some cool little knickknacks and things that I got at different Lego conventions, like 3D printed masks or little printed minis and all sorts of other fun stuff too. So a nice little display there, and it's nice to have all of this just by my desk where I tend to spend most of my time. It's just a fun little area. One thing I wanted to point out though, just down here, at the very base of the table here, you can see that I've got some of these containers here. In this one specifically, there's a whole bunch of these different Ben 10 construction pieces. You can see here how I've sorted them, limbs, heads, torsos up the top, all that sort of stuff. The main purpose with this, and why I'm showing you this though, is I always try my best to maximize the space that I have. So this little spot under the desk here was perfect for being able to fit that little container. So I made sure to put it there, and you can even see here there was some empty space where I put some containers. I do my best to do that wherever I can in my Lego room because space is always limited, and finding different ways of maximizing the space is super, super helpful. Off to the side here, I have this shelf filled with a few nice oddities and different sets and mocks that I've made, including some recent purchases that I got on my recent trip to Denmark, like the beautiful minifigure tribute pirate set. And just next to that is Ransom Fern's incredibly well-built Iron Man mock, which you can find instructions for on Rebrickable. A few other nice mocks here, including that awesome teddy that I got at Legoland Germany, and a beautiful 3D printed minifigure Galactus. And then down the bottom as well, some non-Lego stuff. I have some of the awesome things that you can pick up at Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland in LA. Over here is my pile of shame. Not really, but, it's my to-be-built sets, and there's a good whack of them, including this UCS Venator that's still in the box there. There's only so much time that I have and a lot of sets that I want to build. So this is where they are currently. I'm hoping to free up that space soon, but that's just where they are at the moment. And just next to it here, you can see a work-in-progress mock, which doesn't really look like much at the moment, but if we pan to the side, you can see that this is a Lego city that I'm working on, which has an underground subway station at the bottom. I intend to build a city on top of this. However, again, only so much time and so many projects that I want to build, but that's what that inevitably will be in time. So where we were before, we pan over here to this specific shelf. Now, there's no real rhyme or reason here. I'd like to pretend that I go, this is where I store all of my base plates or whatever. Nope, this really is just a place for all sorts of eclectic pieces that specifically fit into these drawers. I do have a couple different labels on a couple things, like you can see here. These are filled with pieces. These aren't the actual sets. But for the most part, I just kind of remember where everything is. After a while, it just gets into your muscle memory and you know to look here for those specific pieces. You know, one kind of key rule with this area here, I've got these 1x1 sand blue tiles. Now, I'd said before that over on my desk here in these containers, I kept all of my 1x1 like tiles and plates. So why are those over there? Well, it's because the amount of them got too big and they needed to be relocated. So often, you know, judging by the sizing of the containers, it's just by the amount of it that I have, and they go into the specific homes that they need to go into. Down below here, we've got some beautiful rainbow colored drawers here. These in the specific drawer are my 1x2 plate collection, all color coded and looking nice. Moving down below, we have 1x2 tiles now in different colors. And then moving over here, we have 1x2 curved slopes in all the different colors that I have them in. Then over to the side here, we've got some of these beautiful lit up minifigure shelves with all sorts of different minifigures. These typically are just some of my favorites. The shelves are a little full at the moment and I'm planning on resorting these very soon, but wanted to show you them just before I do so. So different figures that we've got in here include the Clone Wars and Rebels figures that I have, or just a few of those related characters, a bunch of different clones, some of them custom, some of them official Lego Clone Troopers. And then moving down here, we move into different Marvel characters, Spider-Man, Daredevil. There's a few custom ones in here. And then basically every Iron Man minifigure is in there too. There's all sorts of cool stuff in here. These do have some acrylic glass over the top of them. However, I removed them because you got some weird reflections on it and it didn't work in this video. But these are cool because they do have the lights in them that you can turn on and off. If you're interested, these are Anko branded shelves. They're kind of like a knockoff shelf, but if you replace the studs that the minifigures stand on, it gets the job done and still looks very, very nice. So definitely recommend this. You know, putting stuff on the walls is something you don't always think about doing, but it's a nice way of just having your minifigures on display, because as you can see down here in these containers, I also have minifigures in them, but I can't see them, and that's not as fun. I like to look at the minifigures. So having them on the shelf, a beautiful thing. So here's all of those different minifigures. A lot of these are disassembled figures, and I do have some labels on these just to make it a little bit easier. I'll open up a couple of these now and show you how I've sorted those. So this here is my drawer of blue torsos. I tend to color code everything. I do legs, torsos, and then heads as well. And the way I do it here is I'll have two different rows with the different sub-colors of the main kind of blue color. And this area down here, these are the torso pieces that I'm way more likely to use in my mocks. And then up here are pieces that I still want to keep, but I'm a little bit less likely to use them. And I find doing it in this way helps me locate the specific torso pieces that I need with a bit more ease. Or I kind of group certain torso pieces together that have a similar style, and then when I'm trying to build my own specific minifigures, that's a bit more helpful for me to be able to locate the specific part that I'm after. Then we've got a drawer of minifigure heads here, and I do the awesome totem pole thing because I find it easier to just take it out and go, all right, let me study which head I need. Nope, it doesn't have the one I need. I put it back and I keep looking. Having them all just kind of tossed in there, it makes it way harder to dig through. The classic totem pole design makes it just that bit easier. And then I color code them as well, of course, as you can see. And if you're curious, the brand for these specific storage boxes is Montgomery Storage, and they're just called storage boxes. I bought these at Bunnings Warehouse in Australia. You may not have that where you are around the world, and Montgomery could be an Australian brand. I'm honestly not sure. But any kind of storage box like this is relatively easy to come by at any kind of like hardware or hobby store or something like that. And they were decently cheap as well. I'll show you the shelves just above where I store all those minifigure parts. This is for mocks as well as a few different sets that I like as well. So some of the mocks that I've built that I have on display here include this Spider-Gwen battle with Hobgoblin. Just next to it, we've got a Vulture and Spider-Man mock inspired by Spider-Man Homecoming. Then we've got a Latverian Doctor Doom throne room, another Marvel mock. And then next to it, I have a DC Aquaman mock. It's rare for me to build DC stuff, but there's one of them. And then all the rest of the mocks here are scenes inspired by Avengers Age of Ultron. These are actually surprisingly old mocks now, and they may not stay on these shelves for all that much longer, but I kind of designed these to fit on these shelves, which is very helpful. You know, I've kind of looked at them for a long time now, and I'm tempted to take them apart and use the pieces and minifigures for other stuff, but they're there for now. Up top, we've got a few different sets that I like. You can see those ones there, the Jazz Club and that awesome classic space tribute set. And then over here, we've got a few different Transformer mocks and a knockoff set here, which I've done a specific video about that Megatron. But, you know, like I said before, I love my Transformers, so great to have some Lego ones. And then over here, we have the blacksmith shop, a trophy that I won on the inside tour, and a few other mocks and sets as well. All of these containers below are filled with pieces. Once again, there's no real rhyme or reason to them. It's just whatever fit in here, and I'm kind of a little bit more used to it now. Sometimes there are pieces that have a bit more of a sort of shared theme, like these are 3x slopes. Then up top, I have 1x slopes and the inverted slopes as well. So sometimes they can kind of be grouped in little sections there, and you know, the grouping can be very helpful to remember where things are. But then, you know, next to that, I've got these, you know, trans light blue tiles. Next to that, I've got these 1x1 brown tiles. I tend to just group a lot of my tiles together like this, including some jumpers as well. That's just how I like to do it. Yeah, no real rhyme or reason. It's kind of just a bit of an overflow area, I suppose. But it looks cool. Just next door, we have these awesome rainbow-colored drawers. Now, I tend to use these drawers quite a fair bit. I try my best to put pieces in here that I need to have larger quantities of, because when I'm building mocks with them, I'll just take the whole drawer out and then bring it to my desk, you know, the desk over here. And then it's very helpful to have a whole big old amount of them to just be able to work off of, because I'm going to need to constantly go back to it. So pieces that I tend to use a little bit more commonly include a lot of different plates in grey, in tan, some in black as well. I've got some white ones over here. In here I've got some of these medium Nougat 1x2 plates that I got off the Pick-a-Brick wall. All sorts of different stuff. But once again, like I've said before, I got pieces like these cones here. I don't really use those all that often, but they fit in this drawer, so they live here now. Arches as well, all sorts of different stuff. Just above this here, I have one of my favorite sets of all time, the 90th anniversary castle set. And just next door, I have these granules that I picked up at a charity shop in Denmark. I have plans for these. They just live here at the moment because I need to get some containers and some other stuff to be able to put them in first. But it's nice having them here just near the desk so I can stare at them when I want to. So this is kind of, I guess, my favorite area in my Lego room. It's a place where I store a good variety of the mocks that I've built. Not everything goes here. It also goes to this table over here and some other areas like you've already seen. But yeah, I tend to spend quite a while looking at the mocks on this table. So starting off, we've got some of my castle builds. A few of them you'll notice have some more extravagant, unique colors to them. I always enjoy building with weird and wonderful color schemes. Moving over to the side, we have some Marvel creations that I've built, including this nice little Venom Spider-Man battle, one of my more dynamic mocks that is certainly one of my favorites. Then some Daredevil stuff, and up the back there we've got Doctor Strange's Sanctum Sanctorum, a mock that a lot of people have very much enjoyed looking at LEGO conventions here in Australia. Just next to it we have probably one of my more famous mocks that was one of my more popular videos on this channel. We have Jabba's Palace. I love Jabba's Palace. I obviously love Star Wars as well. So yeah, probably one of my favorites as well. We've also got a few more of these Marvel vignettes, including a Deadpool one just here with him on the Zamboni, a somewhat iconic scene from the Deadpool movie. You may notice I like to build a lot of these smaller vignettes here because I'm about to show you a good whack of them, especially with these Star Wars ones. I often find that building smaller mocks is just a little bit more enjoyable. It's easier to manage it, both cost-wise and time-wise, and it's very easy to display them because they don't take up too much space. Whereas bigger stuff, like some things I'm going to show you a little bit later in the video, it's very difficult to display and also very difficult to clean when you need to de-dust it. So very helpful to build small, and I just enjoy doing it. So some Star Wars cantinas, Mandalore throne room, and a few other things, including this A-Wing exploding, inspired by the scene from Return of the Jedi. And we'll finish off here with a Felucia mock and the iconic scene from Empire Strikes Back. A relatively new addition to this area includes these awesome drawers which line the whole side of this table. I love these drawers. The way they open and close is super easy. It's just good access to those pieces. They're a lovely new addition. And they're empty at the moment because there's still a lot of Lego that I need to sort, but it's going to go in these drawers very soon. Speaking of Lego to sort, under this table here is a bunch of sets that I've bought that I intend to sort, and most likely put into those containers. You can't really tell, but there are sets filling the majority of under that table, but we won't talk about that because that's a lot of work that Ben still needs to do. But let's talk about this now. So as you can see here, there is this Auto Platonia diorama that I've built, which is yeah, it's inspired by Hoth, but it's meant to be the planet Auto Platonia from the Clone Wars. So it is a Clone Wars diorama with a lot of pieces, and it's a pretty big one that's a little bit older. I'm actually keen to take this apart because it's just taking up a lot of space, and I've had it for almost like 10 years now, but it's going to take me like weeks to sort all of this. So part of me thinks that it's just going to stay together until I desperately need those pieces, but hey, it's still very impressive. Just next to it is another base diorama. This one is one that I actually built during COVID, and it's one of my favorites. It's got a lot of detail to it, and it's very heavily inspired by some of the architecture in Rogue One. Yeah, it's just a good fun diorama. You can see there's a bit of empty space on this table still. That's because future mocks will be going there. I also have this Captain America brick mosaic that I built, and just next to that is the Lego city that I showed you before, which is still very much a work in progress. You might have noticed it as well. Underneath this table is a bunch of different unsorted Lego, which Ben will eventually get to, but there's a lot of Lego to sort. Then just next door, I have more of these rainbow containers, and these ones here, of course, are very similar to the ones that I showed you before. It's pieces that I use very regularly, like masonry bricks, for example, in all sorts of different colors. And the intention is that I can just take the drawer with me, bring it to my desk, and then I have a large quantity that I can build with, and I don't have to trek back and forth having to get all those different quantities together. Well, some dark tan, love me my dark tan. Then just above this here, I've got a few little oddities and rarities that I picked up in Denmark. There's specific videos that I've already posted on the channel that talk about these in a little bit more detail. These won't live here, they're going to move somewhere else very soon, but I need to buy a cabinet for those first. Just next door, I have a very recent castle mock that I've made, which features all sorts of awesome autumn leaves and nice landscape that I'm very proud of. And then just next door to that, I have my very first castle set, which is in need of some repairs. It's not got all the right pieces on it at the moment, but I look forward to doing a video about that mock, or that set rather, very soon. A little bit more storage in the middle here. These containers are some of the bigger ones that I have. So these rainbow ones that I mentioned just before, if these ever overflow a little bit, I move them over to here because they're just that little bit bigger. So for example, these light bluish gray plates, they fit in here with a bit more ease. Some brown ones as well. That's what tends to live over there. Lots more storage now. We move over to one of my favorites. This is where I keep a lot of my different plant pieces. Even just looking up here, you can see a lot of it. Different colored leaves, bushes, all sorts of beautiful things. And then moving down, we've got other miscellaneous pieces that didn't really have a home, but they fit here. And then more plant pieces here as well. I'll take a couple of these out so you can browse them if you're interested. So for all of these 3-leaf pieces, I've got them all color-coded here. Moving up, we move into some of the different flowers, once again color-coded, and sometimes with some of those weirder ones there, we've got them set aside by type. And then up top, I've got a bunch of different stems as well, once again color-coded. Some more minifigures now. Let's zoom in here and I'll show you a couple of those. Bad Batch figures, Imperial characters, clone troopers, and even some custom figures down here, which I believe are from Engineerio and Clone Army Customs as well. So this is dotted with official LEGO minifigures and custom figures too. So, you know, we got things like some Attack on Titan figures, some characters from The Boys, Teen Titans, Daredevil, Avengers, all sorts of stuff, whether it's real or a custom figure. Up top, we've got some beautiful Rock Raiders characters, and then also some business card minifigures, which are very hard to come by, but they are, in fact, official minifigures. Some more storage off to the side here. Again, this is just sort of run-of-the-mill stuff, but there's a little bit more order here. We've got a lot of basic bricks over here. So rainbow-colored 1x2s, rainbow-colored 2x2s, rainbow-colored those are 2x4s. These are the 1x4s. Getting my words mixed up, but I color code these a little bit further as well. So while the rainbow 2x2s are here, the blue ones are down here, because blue I sometimes use for water and stuff like that. And then some more unique colors like teal or dark red, colors that I'm a little bit more likely to use. These are for like the beautiful rainbow interiors and side builds, very similar to what you see on this LEGO City mock that is still not finished. Up top here, I've got different sorted printed pieces and animals as well. I'll open up a couple of those and show you what's inside. One of these animal drawers here, you can see there's some goats hidden in there. And yeah, a bunch of smaller animals. Again, all sort of themed by the type of animal. Bunch of birds together, different rabbits and other stuff, pigs, whatever. Then here's an example of the printed tiles that I have. These are themed by the shape, but also going a little bit further than that. So with a lot of these 1x2 tiles, these ones here are stuff that you might find on a minifigure's desk. These are more sort of like computery panels, technology-based stuff, and this is just whatever's left over. So my own little personal system's in place here just to help me filter this down a little bit more, because it sometimes takes ages to hunt through your printed pieces. It takes a lot of time. So the little things like that make it just that little bit easier to find the exact piece you need. Then just above that there, I have this awesome display case filled with Star Wars figures. I'm lifting up this glass here because you get some, look at that, nasty reflections, which you won't be able to see anything. So plenty of stuff here. It's kind of themed. Down the bottom, you've got bounty hunters. Then you go into the Empire, Jedi, Empire Strikes Back, and other original trilogy stuff, and sequel trilogy, all sorts of different things up there. So plenty of beautiful Star Wars figures here. There is a separate video talking about these if you want to see these in just a little bit more detail. Moving over from there, we've got another display case just like the one we saw before. That one's filled with Marvel though, and a bunch of other pieces. So once again, more spillover stuff, but things I like to use in larger quantities like brown bricks. Up here we've got some green bricks, different 1x4 tiles, all sorts of craziness. And then these Lego board game boxes, they're very robust and beautiful boxes, and they're great to store Lego in. So there's all sorts of different pieces in there. I've got labels on those to make it a bit easier because you can't really see what's inside. So, you know, 8x6 plates, 8x8 grill plates, 4x6 plates, whatever it says in there is what's inside. And then a few different other pieces here. Again, these are a little bit more eclectic and all over the place, but I remember basically where everything is, and it gets the job done. Showing off all these Marvel figures in this case now. Down the bottom, we've got a bunch of X-Men. A few of these ones are custom figures because at the moment, Lego hasn't made any of those characters in official form. And then moving up to the top, I kind of group each of the individual areas based off of the specific movie and the characters within that movie. You know, all the Thor figures are together, all of the Civil War related characters are together, all that kind of stuff. Guardians of the Galaxy up the top, Spider-Man up the very, very top there. Plenty of different Marvel figures. And once again, if you want to see these in a little bit more detail, there is a separate video showcasing all of these. Moving over from there, we transition to where I photograph and film everything for the YouTube videos that you see. I do have a flash photography kit that works as the lighting for this area. Currently that's packed away for a super secret project, but I'll set it back up soon when I next need to photograph stuff here. But yeah, it's a pretty simple setup, just some big pieces of card on this table to create that white background that you often see on my videos. I'm looking to upgrade this a little bit though. I don't particularly love these lines here. I tend to just Photoshop those out in post, but it's a lot of work and it's a bit annoying. So yeah, I'm hoping to invest in something else or get a bigger piece of card that doesn't have those, just because it's a bit of a pain. But yeah, very simple setup there to achieve a nice looking background. And it ends where we began. This is the table where I display a lot of the UCS sets that I own. You might have noticed I don't really display too many actual Lego sets, but UCS sets are just that cool, so they deserve a place here. I do have a bunch of these cruisers and ships, these little micro-scale mocks that I made. They're certainly not to scale with the other UCS sets behind them here, but hey, they're awesome sets like that Super Star Destroyer. And then I do also have that custom Interdictor Cruiser mock that I built there too. And you might have noticed there's a little bit of space over at the back of the table here for future UCS sets that I still need to build. But hey, yeah, that's where all of those UCS sets are displayed. That's it for the video. I hope you very much enjoyed taking a little cheeky look at my Lego collection here. I'll potentially show you some other stuff in the collection if you have interest in seeing it. Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much, guys. Happy building. Bye for now.